Hey everyone, it's Richard Solomon, bringing you another installment in the PhD Chronicles. I think this is installment number 9. Yes, I think so. So good morning, good evening, good night to you, depending on where and when you're viewing this. And as usual, I steal time to make these videos because there's no time on my schedule for these. So I steal time while I'm doing other things. Right, so PhD Chronicles. I want to do this in two parts. One part has to do with a question I got on LinkedIn, and another part has to do with just where I am right now. So I received a question on LinkedIn as to how the work that I'm doing for my PhD will feed into or add value to my work as a consultant. I thought that was a useful question, and it is something that I've thought about. To answer the question, I need to say a little bit about what I'm doing. So I'm looking at and I'm examining the relationship between work ethic and behavioral styles in the labor force of Trinidad and Tobago. Not much has been done on work ethic. I know I saw a thesis by now Dr. Paula Thomas that looked at work ethic in a particular organization. And I think that's the only piece of robust research I've come across on work ethic in Trinidad and Tobago. The World Economic Forum has made some statements or has put out some numbers as it relates to our work ethic. And we have had a sort of a loose conversation around that for some time. We as a country, there's been a few comments made about that over time. But not much robust research that I have been able to come across. And so that's what I'm going to be examining. A lot of my work as a consultant has to do with helping organizations and, of course, leaders be more efficient and effective and help the organization to perform better. And, that performance, of course, is defined by the various groups that they serve: customers, stakeholders, employees, management, executives, the community. So my hope is that in some way, as I walk this journey, I'll be able to identify and possibly develop something, a tool, a process that will help organizations, certainly to help leaders, I should say that way, help leaders to help their organizations to improve performance. Because work ethic is directly related to performance. Yeah, so that's my hope. One never knows, because you can predict, but you don't know what the research is going to tell you, and that's one of the things about this kind of research. You kind of have to wait and see what the numbers tell you, what the data tells you, and then we'll see how that goes. So that's part one. Part two. Where I am now, well, I've said this before, second semester, 2 courses, directed reading and the research proposal. And so I'm working on those actively. The directed reading is really for the literature review. I've heard it said, and I've heard comments about, the amount of other people's work that you reference in doctoral and indeed postgraduate, and even in undergraduate studies, you do reference a lot of other people's work. Specifically for doctorate, it's critical. You have to reference other people's work. You need to know the state of the research. Where are things now? Because what you are doing is adding new knowledge, and you can't add to something that you don't know where it might exist or how it might exist at the current time. So that's what I'm spending semester 2 on. A lot of reading specific to looking at the space in the literature. And when I say literature, this is research that has already been conducted, and where does that stand? So that's where it is. A lot of reading, and I have found a nice app, but I'll put that in another, or maybe I'll put it in the a link in the description. Great app that reads to you, so you could just upload your PDF papers, and then the app will read to you. You can get that for your phone, get that for your computer. So that helps me because I can turn that on when I'm driving. It helps me to save time in that way, because there's a lot of reading to be done. So yeah, that's where I am. I've been asked, is it hard? The directed reading, working on the on the literature. No, I wouldn't say it's hard. You have to have an interest, and then you should not be studying something that you don't have an interest in anyway. For this semester, pretty much I'm on my own in terms of the work. I do have a supervisor, as I've said before, who is guiding the whole process. So in order to do this, I had to send her an outline as to what I plan to do for the literature review. She then sent to me some feedback. I made some adjustments, sent it back. She approved it, and so I'm off and running now. So that's sort of the process. And so once I've done a first draft of my literature review, I guess we'll go through that same process again. Not I guess, but that will be the process. I'll send it to her. She'll give her feedback and her critique that in ways that I can probably make it stronger, make it better, and then I'll send it out again until it's done. My expectation is my lit review will probably be done by the end of March. I don't see any reason why I won't finish it by the end of March. And the research proposal contains the lit review. It also contains your methodology, how you propose to go about doing the research. That should not take me too long, because I've done some of that work in some of the previous courses. I did have a course last semester called Research Methodology, and I took that opportunity to focus directly on the research that I plan to do. So yeah, that's where things are. I'm just making time for it as I go along. Putting aside sometimes. I tend to work on the weekends on this, and then this is what we call Ash Wednesday in Trinidad and Tobago. So preceded by 2 days of carnival festivities, which are not official public holidays, but most people have the time off. Many people have the time off. I mean, not essential services. So I spent the better part of the last 2 days mostly working on the literature review. And that's how I tend to work on it, but I do put in time on an ongoing basis. So yeah, that's where things are with the PhD Chronicles. Hope this was helpful. I'll keep making these videos as they are useful. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you will be notified when I post new content. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And I will see you soon. This is Richard Solomon. Bye-bye.